Okay, today I've embarked on cleaning all the car parts, especially the heads. This is my 2006 Dodge Durango. It's a two-wheel drive, as you can see here. So I have the front plate off, the timing chain and oil pump plate. I have it in the house, in the kitchen sink, of all places, soaking, so I can get some of the extra grease off. Here are the heads. I sprayed some purple power on there, inside outside. Then I scrub it with these metal bristle brushes, metal bristle brushes, and yeah, they seem to do a pretty good job. I've heard something about purple power that it might be kind of corrosive and everything, but I've been using it on a lot of stuff. I even put it in my intake manifold here. I poured half purple power and then filled up the tubes with water. This is like the third time I'm doing it. Every time I did it, there was a lot of darkness. As you can see, the water here dripping out, how yucky it looks. So get some of the carbon out of there. But there was nothing in it. Like if you shook it, you don't hear anything. So I didn't drop a valve seat and pieces fly in there. This is the cover plate, one of the plates for the oil pan. That was a son of a gun getting out. And I will go over that in another video, over how I did all those things. And these are the exhaust manifold heat guards. So you can see those are a little oily. Just cleaning those up, purple power, and the exhaust manifolds themselves. So just want to clean those up. Probably spray some more. As you can see how it's getting chrome coming back on. And these are dark, so it's not a big deal. It's not gonna hurt just to put them on like this, but since I have them off, I don't plan on ever taking them off again. This is my 2006, 16 years old. It's never been cleaned before, and hopefully I can go another 16 if I'm lucky. But my actual truck is in great shape. The bumper has some scratches and all. I have of course, my Raiders emblem on there. But yeah, I cleaned the pistons off. As you can see, a little bit more carbon on there to clean off, but otherwise, the actual timing chain and the oil pump, I didn't have any issues with them, but because I wanted to change the oil pump anyway, just because it's 16 years old and 240,000 miles on it, I wanted to change it. Of course, taking off this oil pan, and that's this. I took all the bolts off already. I actually should be able to just push this down really hard and it comes off. So I'm gonna do that next after I'm done cleaning. So I'm gonna get my brush over here and I'm gonna scrub a little bit more on these, down in the intake and the exhaust valves tubes, and make sure that they're good. I also checked the guides for these valve seat holes right here, and sometimes they can get wide, so when you put the valve seat in there, there's a lot of wiggle room, and the way to test that is just to put it in upside down, the exhaust valve, and make sure it's still tight. Here are my old exhaust valves, and I bought all new exhaust valves to put in here, so I'm not gonna reuse these. But thing is, to take these, of course I have the seat still on here, and you would put it in here upside down, the other way actually, but you'll put it in here like this and just ensure you have no wiggle room. It's in there pretty tight. It's good. That's what you want. If you have a lot of wiggle room, it's going to leave room for oil and everything else to seep down in there, which is not what you want. And on mine, I had a valve cover gasket leak. I cleaned the valve covers and everything already, but that's what I had, and was leaking down into the spark plugs, which these are Hemi, so there's 2 spark plugs per each cylinder. So I actually have 16 spark plugs. And what happened with mine is, spark plug was leaking oil. Oil got all the way down to the bottom, was getting inside the piston and just burning out the engine. So I was having white smoke come out. Only upon startup. You start up, the white smoke is coming out. After I drove for a while, you didn't see any smoke. But sometimes when I start the car, it's burning so much smoke. I mean, it looked terrible, and it was kind of embarrassing. You go somewhere, someone thinks something wrong with your car because so much smoke is coming out upon startup. The intake manifold, I'm going to leave here for a while. I'm going to let that soak for a few hours, a while, maybe even the rest of the day. I might just let that soak. These I'm just going to clean up right now in a minute. Clean these off. They don't take that long. Exhaust manifold, clean these off, and then go inside and get the timing chain cover, clean that, and just sit them down so I have all the cleaning done. Then I'm going to go up here and clean off again the rest of these pistons. They look pretty good, just a little bit of carbon left on little pieces. Clean those off. And once that is done, I'm good. Also, if you can see the top here, these are my cam lifters in here. All these, there's 16 of them, 4 per. I took all those out. Right now they're not screwed in. You just pull them out, and they all look good. I mean, they all work. They're all spinning. They're all rolling. I have no issues. But I'm gonna get all new cam lifters anyway, because I'm opening this up. You don't want to close it up in 6 months from now, since they're 16 years old. One of the lifters go out. Then I have to do all this. So because the head goes on here, it's easy to take a valve cover gasket off and change something in there, a spring or, a seal or something like that, than it is to have to take the entire head off and change it. So I'd rather change the lifters because my cylinders look good. I don't need to hone them, and they're smooth, and the pistons look good. I'll clean those up and then change out these. Then if I have any issues, it's going to be in the, valve cover area and not the head area. I got new gaskets and everything, and hopefully those, as long as everything's good, I don't have to reopen that. Also, these are the MDS solenoids up there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those little circles at the top. I'm also going to change those out. I haven't had any issues, but if you can see, they look old and beaten. It's just getting them out is tough. Everyone takes them out and they break. But I'm going to change all 4 of those out. 4 of those with MDS are about $180 to $200. You can maybe get them from $150 to $200, depending on where you get them from. I'm going to try to get them more reputable because I don't plan on doing it again. And anything you put this deep in the engine, you don't want a knockoff brand if you can help it. Plus, I want to get a warranty. If something's wrong, I can take it out and take it back. But this is where the intake manifold goes over these solenoids. So has nothing to do with the heads, but change those out. I also have, this is the temperature sensor. I have a new one of those. This is the oil pressure sensor. Have a new one of those. Again, I didn't have any issue with these, but because they're that old, I'm just going to change them out since I have this open. This, I believe, the one that connects to the camshaft sensor, which once you put the plate on here, the sensor's in here. I got a new sensor. I got that the other day. And yeah, that should be it. In the back, if you can see those 2 circles there, 1, 2, and then over here there's 1, these little clips. Have to remember to put those on the back of the heads when you put them on. So I definitely have to remember that because those are easy to forget. You got a few plugs back there to plug into some sensors. Remember those. I think that taking it apart is the easiest part, getting everything back together correctly. And this is the first time I've ever taken apart an engine. So for me, it's critical on the putting everything back together part. You see the timing chain looks really good. These are not broken. These are notorious for breaking on a timing chain. I forgot what you call them, but they're notorious for breaking. They hold it in, give it this little V taper. But mine are very good. That's why I was kind of leery about changing it. But just because I'm changing the oil pump, I have to. And this is the reason you have to take off the oil pump pan, guys. I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm just talking about everything, but not this screw right here. You're feeling right here. This is a screw that goes into the oil pump. Now I can take off all these screws for the oil pump and start sliding it forward. But because this bolt connects into, you can see down here in the pan, there's a tube that this connects to. The bolt connects upside down, so you have to screw it from the bottom, which I don't understand why they did that instead of putting it here. But you have to do it from the bottom. Because you have to do it from the bottom, you can't get under there. Now, in some cars, you can unscrew some of the bolts in the oil pan, like in the front, and push it down a little bit, and then turn this oil pump a little after you unscrew it and get it out. Some vehicles, cars, you can do it, but on trucks, I'm informed you can't. No SUVs, no pickups for the most part. So you actually have to take off this entire oil pan, which you have to go under the car, and there's a lot to do. I have to drop the rack and pinion. Luckily, it's only 2-wheel drive. If it was 4-wheel drive, I would have to drop the front diff and the rack and pinion and maybe something else. So just the rack and pinion I had to drop. Then I had to take off that plate that I showed you. This one, which is also covering the pan, which is not easy to get out. Once I dropped the diff, I still had issues. Then I got all the bolts out. But I think it's stuck on there. It's been there for a while, so I'm going to have to hammer it a little bit, knock it down, and take it off. That'll be the last thing I do today, and I'll clean out that oil pan. So I'm going to use my, I have my drill with my wire brushes for the pistons. These things. I just have to be careful. And I put them on my drill, and that's how I clean the pistons. A lot of people put, some guy was telling me put acetone and transmission fluid, mix it together, and then use that to clean it just a little bit, and it works. I'm just leery of using acetone. I did try it on some things, some small things. I didn't see a big difference, but I really don't want to use too much acetone. That's what I'm afraid of, acetone more than I'm afraid of Royal Purple Power. So I think earlier I may have seen Royal Purple when I was talking about the cleaning product, but it's Purple Power. Royal Purple is oil. So I'm going to finish cleaning these off, rinse them off, clean all this, rinse them. And then when I come back, when I start cleaning the pistons, we'll go from there, and I'll show you how I'm going to clean those.